Hello everyone, wishing you all a very good morning. Am I audible and visible to all of you in the class? Yes? Okay, great. What about the students in the online mode? Charita, Navya, audible, visible, everything fit and fine? Good morning everyone. Let us all settle down and let us start with today's endeavor. Well, in yesterday's class, we discussed and finished pseudo force. We have done some problems on pseudo force. I hope you have understood those problems. Yes or no? Have you understood those problems? Great. Okay. Today we are supposed to do friction. We'll have to start with friction. Has everyone settled down? Yes or no? Pakka? Okay. Now, just before going into friction, there is a small question that comes to my mind, and I would like to discuss this question with you. Let me put it this way. I was not uh, planning to do this question, but I don't know why I feel that I should do this question. So I am doing this question to because this question can come in a different form in your exam, and then you should not be found lagging. Let us suppose that we have this wedge. This is a triangular wedge, as you can see. This is a triangular wedge. Now this wedge is not fixed. This wedge can move. Okay, this wedge can move on ground. I can move it on ground. Now suppose I have this block of mass M kept on this wedge. A block of mass M is kept on this triangular wedge. Now, first thing that I'm going to ask you is a very simple thing. There is no friction. Friction has not come into the picture yet. Now, if I have a wedge which is fixed on ground, which is not, let us make it very simple first. Let me ask you the most simple question. I always try to make things simple and then change the condition and make it difficult. Now, that is how you can analyze any difficult question. And I keep on telling you, any difficult question that you see is not a difficult question. It comprises of small questions put together. If you can analyze those small points, small things, you should be able to solve the most difficult question that can ever come in any exam that you are going to face. I'm going to start with this one. Case number one. Now the case number one, forget about friction. Friction is nowhere. Now case number one is this wedge is fixed. Case number one is this wedge is fixed. Now I keep a block on the top of this wedge anywhere. The wedge is inclined at an angle. There's no friction. What will happen? The wedge is fixed. Block is kept on the top of this wedge. What will happen? What will happen in this case? Anyone? Anyone knows? Can raise hand. Wedge is fixed. Block is kept on the wedge. What will happen? The only thing that can happen in this case, the red case, is that this block will move like this. Yes or no? We understand this? Can I have some raise hand that you understand this? Sorry. My mic was off. I'm sorry. I did not see my mic was off. I asked you whether you can hear me or not, and you were not responding. No one was saying anything. My mic was muted. Okay. I start again. Case number 1. This wedge is fixed on ground. I hope you can see me now. Can you hear me now? Please raise your hands that you can hear me. Okay. Case number 1. What is going to happen is this block is fixed. This wedge, this triangular wedge is fixed on ground, and I've kept a block of mass M on the top of this wedge. What will happen to the block? The wedge is not going to move. The block is just going to move down. The acceleration of the block will be g sine theta. We all understand this? Do we all understand this? Okay. Now this acceleration will be acceleration of block M with respect to ground, as well as it will be the acceleration of block M, mass M. If I call this thing as B, this will be the acceleration of mass with respect to the block B. It will be going like this. Yes or no? Do we concur on this? Can I have some raised hand that we understand this? Because the block is not moving with respect to ground. So whatever is the acceleration of M with respect to block, that same acceleration is the acceleration of M with respect to ground. This is the simplest possible case. And we have already done this case. Can I have some raised hands from the people in the class, in the online class as well as the offline class? Okay. What could be the second case? I'm going to draw the second case. The second case looks like this. Angle is theta, that has not changed. Block is mass M. The mass of the body is M, that has not changed. This block is B. But now I'll make the green case. This is not fixed, can move. Remember, friction is not there. We are not talking about frictions at all. Can move. This block can move. So I have a system. I have kept a wedge and I've kept a block on the top of this wedge, and I leave this system. What will happen now? What will happen now? Any idea? Now, the first question that you ask yourself is whether the two blocks both move. And the answer is yes, both the blocks move. Now then you have to understand, how do they move? How do they move? Where does block B go? Now block B is kept on a surface, right? It can either go right or it can go left. Where it is going to go? Is it going to go like this or like this? It is definitely going to go like this. Yes or no? Yes or no? This will be the acceleration of block B with respect to ground. Block B will move backwards or forwards, whatever the way you look at it, because block of mass M is pressing it and it will move in the forward direction. Yes or no? Do we understand this? Raise hands will give me more confidence that you have understood this. So the block, नीचे वाला block, wedge, will move आगे. What happens to this block, which is kept on the top of this? Where will this go? How will this go? So it is kept on this wedge, so it can only move down on the wedge. If I call this acceleration as acceleration of mass with respect to the block, it can only move in this direction. But with respect to ground, its acceleration would be different. Yes or no? If I ask you what will be the acceleration of mass with respect to ground, you can simply say, sir, vectorly, what we will do, we will just add them. and acceleration of mass with respect to ground will be acceleration of mass with respect to block, which is this vector, plus acceleration of block with respect to ground, that will be this vector. Yes or no? Do I have concurrence here? Do we understand this? Raise hands. Okay. So this is the second case where I kept both the block and the wedge, mass and the wedge, and they are free to move. We see that block B will move aage and block A or M will move like this with respect to the wedge. There is no friction, right? I'm not bringing in friction. Now I'm asking you this question. Now, listen to the question very carefully. Is it possible I can do something? There is no friction, remember. Is it possible that I do something that this block remains at rest? That is my blue case. This block remains at rest with respect to the block B. Is there something that can be done? Remember, there is no friction, so you cannot say that bring friction in. Friction is not there. Is there anything that can be done? If I leave the system like this, the system is going to move. Niche wala block will move like this. Upar wala block will move like this. Is there anything that can be done to make this mass M at rest with respect to B? Remember, it cannot be at rest with respect to ground. Can you do something that this block M remains at rest with respect to the block B? Can anything be done here? And if you can do anything, what could be that thing? Anyone getting any idea? How can I make block M remain at rest with respect to block B? You will say, sir, it is impossible. There is no friction, it has to slide down. There is no friction, it has to slide down. If you apply some common sense, you would be able to keep the block M at rest with respect to block B, and that is the question that I'm going to ask. What can be done to make this block of mass M remain at rest with respect to this niche wala block, which is can move? This niche wala block can move. What can you do to keep this block, the upper block, M block, at rest with respect to niche wala block, block B? Any ideas? What you can do? Obviously, you will not say, sir, we will hold this block of mass M. You can't hold that block. You don't have friction. Friction can't stop it from going down. What else you can do? Well, the simplest thing that you can do is accelerate the niche wala block. Accelerate niche wala block. Now, if I accelerate it fast enough, you can keep the upper wala block at rest. That is the question. Find the acceleration of niche wala block. Obviously, that is with respect to ground, so that block of mass M remains at rest with respect to block B. And in which direction this acceleration should be, that is common sense, that is no physics over there. It cannot go like this. If this niche wala block goes like this will definitely fall down. The only way it is possible is if I accelerate in this direction fast enough, I should be able to stop the block, not stop the block, to keep the block at rest with respect to niche wala wedge. That is the question. I'll give you 5 minutes. I'll give you 2 minutes to think about this question and tell me the answer. I'll give you options as well. I will give you options as well so that if you have an answer, you can tell me the options. Observation A is A. What should be the value of A? The first option is acceleration should be equal to G. The second option is acceleration should be equal to G sine theta. The third option is acceleration should be equal to G cos theta. The fourth option is acceleration should be equal to G tan theta. These are your options. Now remember, we are not playing Kaun Banega Crorepati that you guess, start guessing. Guessing will not help you. 2 minutes, think about it. What you got to do? Remember, I have not changed anything in the question. The question still remains same. If you want a hint, I can give you a hint. Anyone wants a hint? Please raise your hands. Okay. The hint is very simple. I have to become the green Hulk and I will stand on the top of this and I will solve this question from the reference frame of the wedge. That is what we have been doing throughout the 2 or 3 classes that we have done on pseudo force. So that is the hint I'm giving. Solve the question from the reference frame of the wedge. Remember, when you are on the wedge, you have to find, you have to see, you have to understand that the condition is this block M should remain at rest with respect to you. That is the hint. 2 minutes. Then I'll ask you whether you have got the answer or not. Answers are not important. I've always insisted and I am still insisting, answers are not important. Important is what you think about it, how you have tackled the question, that is important. Answers are least important. What do you think can be done here? One minute. Okay. If you have solved it, you have solved it. Anyone got any answer? Please raise your hand if you have got any answer. No one got any answer? Okay, if you did not get any answer, there is no point of me asking 1, 2, 3, 4 because if there is no answer, there is no answer. How do I solve it? Now remember, beta, it's not possible for me to cover each and every question. But if I've told you something, you just need to apply that thing over and over again. The only way I can do this question is not by waving a magic wand. I do not have a magic wand. I will just draw the free body diagram. I'll first draw the real forces, mg. Normal reaction coming from ground here like this. These are the two real forces that I see. But remember, I am the green Hulk. I'm making this equation from a which frame? Non-inertial frame. So I'll have to apply pseudo force. I cannot forget it. Acceleration is like this. So my pseudo force, my red force goes here. So far, so good? Yes or no? The value of pseudo force is MA. So far, so good? Do we understand this? Yes or no? Now, what do I got to do? This block should remain at rest. I have drawn the free body diagram. I have to make X and Y axis. Don't forget our basic principles. So this is my X axis. This is my Y axis. Then what I got to do? I need to resolve forces. Normal reaction is along Y axis. I can't do anything about it. Mg is like this. So I resolve Mg into two directions. Mg cos theta. No, this is Mg sin theta. This one becomes Mg cos theta. Don't forget your basics. But remember this pseudo force. This pseudo force is also there. It is also going along horizontal direction. I need to resolve it as well. Remember this angle will be theta. So this becomes M A cos theta, and this one becomes M A sin theta. The components have reversed. Now the question is solved. I can use the green one along y-axis. Along y-axis, it is not going to move. It cannot move like this. So n is along y-axis. Mg cos theta is along y-axis. Ma sin theta is along y-axis. So my green equation, which can be useful if someone asks you the normal reaction, my green equation is n should be equal to mg cos theta plus ma sin theta. This is my value of normal reaction, but the problem is that I do not know the value of this A. So unless and until I get the value of this A, this equation is useless. Do we understand this? Can I have some reason that we have understood this? I have not done anything extravagant. I've just applied what I have been teaching you for the past 15 days or a month. This is the green equation along y-axis. I also need to make the yellow equation along x-axis. Along x-axis, I have mg sin theta downwards, which is trying to pull it down. But we now have a savior. We have ma cos theta, which is trying to pull it up. This is a pseudo force. Remember. What is my yellow equation then? It should remain at rest, remember. So downward force, niche wala force, mg sin theta must be equal to ma cos theta, and here we go. The yellow equation. As soon as we get the yellow equation, we get the value of A. And what is the value of A? Now any third standard student can do this. The value of A would be G tan theta. Do we understand this? Do we understand this, or shall I repeat what I have done? I have sat on the top of the wedge. The wedge is accelerating with an acceleration A. So I apply a pseudo force Ma backwards. I apply Mg downwards. I apply normal reaction perpendicular. Then I make my X and Y axis, resolve the forces. It should remain at rest. I make the equation along X axis. I make the equation along Y axis, and voila, I have my answers. Now, can you get me the value of the normal reaction? Can you get me the value of normal reaction? So you can remember these values. Mark this question as one where you can revise the entire topic. I keep on telling you, mark this question. So from here, you will get the value of A as g tan theta and you put the value of A as g tan theta here, you will get the value of normal reaction. I think you get the value of normal reaction as mg divided by cos theta, which is basically mg sec theta and not mg cos theta, which was the case if it was at rest. Are we getting this point? Can I have some raise hand that we have understood this? Yes or no? Great. Now remember these two results. JEE mains or advanced, they are basically more about how much you know about it and how quickly you can solve the question. Now, shall I move and give you the next question? Okay. Now, if you understand what you have done, I can make a question which may look very difficult, but if you understand, it becomes rather simple. Okay, I'm making M1, M2. Let me just change these. Let me just change these numbers. Let me make it as M1, M2, and small m. Okay. Now, this might look like a very difficult question. This might look like a very difficult question, but let us see if you can do this. Now, this is the arrangement. The question is very simple. What should be the value of this mass m so that this mass m1 remains at rest with respect to M2. M2 is the lower block, M1 is the upper block. I have brought in a pulley. I have hang a mass from the other end, small m. You have to find the value of this small m so that the small block M1 remains at rest with respect to the mass M2. If you can do this, well, you must congratulate yourselves that you have done exceedingly well. Now remember, do you want a hint? Now the hint is, if M1 and M2, M1 is not moving with respect to M2, M1 is not moving with respect to M2. Remember, you can take this entire mass as one body. Yes or no? Do we understand this? Do we understand this? Yes or no? Yes. We understand this, correct? See, it's just like you are sitting in a bus and you are at rest with respect to the bus. Now, if the bus is moving or accelerating, what is your acceleration? Your acceleration is the acceleration of the bus. So now the small mass M1 becomes a passenger and this capital mass M2 becomes the bus. Small mass M1 is not moving with respect to the bus. So this entire thing becomes 1. Can you tell me the value of small m so that M1 remains at rest with respect to M2? This is probably one of the most difficult questions that you can get in this category. I'll give you a minute to think about it. I've already given you the hint. That is hint number 1. M1 and M2 are one body. Because M1 is not moving with respect to M2. That is hint number 1. What is hint number 2? Hint number 2. I'll write hints. Hint number 1 is M1 and M2 are nothing but one body. Hint number 2. Whatever is the acceleration of M2, same is the acceleration of M1 with respect to ground. Do we know the acceleration of M1 and M2? Acceleration of M1 and M2 are same with respect to ground. Do we know this value? How much is this acceleration? Do we know the value of this acceleration? Yes or no? Yes, we know the value of this acceleration. We had just calculated this acceleration. We had just calculated this acceleration. This acceleration must be equal to g tan theta. This acceleration must be equal to g tan theta. So you can just write this acceleration is g tan theta. These are the two hints. Using these two hints, how I am going to solve this problem? Well, I will just draw the free body diagram, real forces mg, tension in the string T. Oh, I have done a mistake here. I have taken the acceleration on the other side. The acceleration should be on the other side. So I'll just change this. Just change this. Sorry, I made a mistake. It should be accelerated like this. So I'll just make it like this. Okay. It is attached like this. And then the block is placed here. Okay. M1, M2. So now, what do I do? T is here, mg is here, and this block should be moving down with an acceleration a. And the value of this acceleration a is g tan theta. So I can write the equation of this block as the yellow one. I can write the value of this block as the equation of this block as the yellow equation. What is the value of this yellow equation? Mg minus T is equal to M into A, because this has to move downwards. Do we agree on this? Yes or no? Do we agree on this? Okay. Now I already know the value of this A. Acceleration is g tan theta. So I can write mg minus t is equal to mg tan theta. This will become my equation number 1. If I know the value of t, I should be able to find out the value of this small mass m. How do I get the value of t? To get the value of t, I draw the free body diagram of these two blocks. Remember, these two blocks are now one block. The mass of these two blocks is m1 plus m2. The mass of this block is m1 plus m2. And it is going to accelerate in this direction. And this acceleration will be equal to g tan theta. Now, this is the mass of the block is m1 plus m2. Acceleration is g tan theta. And the only force in the horizontal direction is t. So what will be the equation of these two blocks? The equation of these two blocks would be T will be equal to m1 plus m2 multiplied by A. Now the value of this A we already know is g tan theta. So I will get the value of T as m1 plus m2 g tan theta. m1 plus m2 g tan theta will be the value of this tension. If I put this tension in equation number 1, I should be able to get the value of the small block m. Am I clear what I have done? How I've used, what I have used here? What I have used here? I have used here the condition that if this block, ऊपर वाला block has to remain at rest, the नीचे वाला block should be moving with an acceleration of g tan theta. And I have utilized this condition in question number 2, which looks like a very, very difficult question, but I have solved it using equation or question number 1. Remember, when two blocks do not move with respect to each other, we can take them as one block. Do we understand this? Yes or no? Can I have some raised hand that we can understand this? Online class, do we understand this? How we have solved this question? I know this is a difficult question, but since we have done the previous one, it was compulsory that we apply this concept in the next question to understand how we can use it in a different question. Anyone has any doubts, please ask. I'll repeat the question, how I have solved this. The first thing that I have used is that if a block has to remain at rest with respect to the niche wala block, acceleration must be equal to g tan theta. That is the first thing that I remember. What is the second thing that you must remember? That when this block M1 remains at rest with respect to block M2, they can be taken as one. Total mass becomes M1 plus M2. Acceleration becomes g tan theta. And the only force in the horizontal direction is T. So I can write the equation T is equal to M1 plus M2A. We understand this? Please raise your hands in the class. Okay. Now for the other block, the equation is simple. mg is downwards, t is upwards, acceleration is downward. So I make the equation mg minus t is equal to ma. I put the value of a as g tan theta. I put the value of t as m1 plus m2 g tan theta from the first equation. I put it in the other equation and I get the value of the block of mass m. So what is the moral of the story? If you understand things, if you can recollect them, you can apply the same concept and solve a very difficult question. With this, we come to an official end of your topic on pseudo force. Let's have a quick recap again. What is pseudo force? Pseudo force is an unreal force, imaginary force, which is only applied in a non-inertial frame. If you want to make your equations from a non-inertial frame, you apply this pseudo force. You must remember two things about this pseudo force. One is the direction, other thing is the magnitude. The value of magnitude is mass of the body on which you are applying this multiplied by the acceleration of your frame of reference. The direction is opposite to acceleration. Now, once you write your equation from non-inertial frame, remember you have become that frame, and whatever values you get, it would be with respect to that given frame. That was that was all about pseudo force. That you must remember whatever questions we have done are good enough for understanding, because the number of questions, even if I do 5,000 questions, I can keep on doing 5,000 questions. That will not be correct. Let us now move on to the next topic, friction. Now friction will come. What will change? Nothing will change. Only one extra force will have to be applied. Now, how do we introduce friction? Now let us go back to a scenario where a block of mass m, let us say, is moving on a block. Why I'm making it moving? Because when it is moving, probably you understand what is happening. Now, if I draw the free body diagram of this block, you will draw mg the gravitational force, real force. Forget about pseudo force. We are not going to use them now. Hardly in any question we will use it. First will be the gravitational force mg acting downwards. Then I told you that normal reaction is going upwards. Yes or no? This is normal reaction. But as I told you, whenever two bodies are in contact, they will exert forces on each other. Those forces are known as reaction forces. Now, this reaction force has two components. One is normal to the two bodies, which is known as normal reaction force or normal force. The other is parallel to the two bodies, which is known as frictional force or friction. So this reaction force would be somewhere here like this. This is the reaction force. Normal component we have already dealt with. Now we will be dealing also with the parallel component. So in short, what you can write friction as, friction is the parallel component of reaction force. Do we understand this? Friction is the parallel component of reaction force. The perpendicular component of reaction force is known as normal reaction. The parallel component is known as friction. Can I have some raised hand that we understand this? Now, what is the work of this frictional force? So we'll write the entire definition like this. Friction force or friction is the parallel component of reaction force which opposes the relative motion or the tendency of relative motion between the two bodies. Now, the most important term that you must understand here is relative motion. A very, very important note that you should never forget in your life. Friction does not oppose motion. Friction does not, very important, does not. Friction does not oppose motion. Then what does it oppose? It only opposes relative motion. Will you remember this? I don't know how you have seen friction up till now, but remember from 11th standard, friction is not something that opposes motion. In fact, friction is the reason that you can move. Now imagine there is a big snow car, what should I say, block, a very large block of not snow, ice, a very large block of ice, and you are trying to walk on that block. Will you be able to walk on a block of ice or a floor which is very slippery? No, you will not be able to walk. Imagine a car being stuck in mud. The tire keeps on rotating, but the car does not move forward. Why does the car not move forward? Because there is no friction. The friction is very less. This is the pen through which I am writing on this, whatever you call it, graphic tablet. This is my pen through which I am writing here. If there is no friction between the pen and the tablet, I will not be able to write. Whenever you are writing on a piece of paper or on a blackboard or a whiteboard, there has to be friction between the whiteboard and your pen, otherwise you will not be able to write. That is why it is said friction is a necessary evil. Friction is a necessary evil. Why necessary? Because if it is not friction, nothing would work in the way it works. You will not be able to write, rub, you will not be able to walk, cars will not move, cars will only slide. They will not move. You will not be able to stop them also. You can stop cars only when there is friction. So it is necessary. Why it is evil? It is evil because some work, some energy is lost against friction. We have to do some extra work against friction, and therefore it is known as necessary evil. Remember, without friction, life would be very, very dangerous. You will only slide, you cannot walk. You will not be able to stop yourself. You will not be able to write, not able to, you will not be even able to hold your food. You will not be able to eat, because to hold something, you need friction. There is no friction, nothing happens. Will not be, everything will slide. Try to hold a small, try to pick a small block of ice cube. When the floor is slippery, you will not be able to pick it, because it will just slide. Friction is a necessary evil. Evil because we'll have to do some work, extra work against it. So I'll end this class here on this introduction of the topic of friction. What are the things that you must remember about friction? I'll just note them down. Please write them. What are the things that you must remember about friction? Number one, it is the parallel component of, it is the parallel component of reaction force, R. I hope you are making good notes. Notes are the only thing that are going to save your souls. SOS. Friction, it does not oppose motion. It's a very wrong concept that friction opposes motion. It does not oppose motion. It only opposes relative motion. And these are the three most important points that you must remember about friction. We'll start with friction in a brand new class, and that will happen on Monday. So if you have any doubts, you can now ask me. Else I will call this class off, and we'll meet in the next class. Take care. I'm here. If you want to ask any doubts, ask you. Bye-bye.